Hello guys and welcome. Today I wanna talk about a revolt that, unlike the Argentina revolt, I still believe is not very good. I have used this, I made a video about it, and what I said in that video was that this revolt is a really good finisher. It's really good for killing off your opponent. Now I do want to put a prerequisite here. Is someone commented on my Mexico revolt, which thank you so much. Any input is good. But he said Mexico is actually great because the massive units you get are really good. Now I believe those units have been quite nerfed in the public update preview, so they weren't quite as good as he was saying they were. But like when I'm talking about these revolts and how good they are, I'm not talking about their initial push, because honestly, in my opinion at least, any revolt can be quote-unquote S tier just due to the fact that suddenly you can have 100 extra military. So, you know, if you're playing against any of the Asian civs, the African civs, any civ that can't revolt themselves, you can just absolutely wreck them because you have now 200 military sometimes. So I'm not looking at it through those eyes. I'm looking at this through the eyes of like late game after you've done that. You know, you lost your units, you didn't win, you didn't lose. How can you follow up after this? But even more so than that, I'm not focusing on 1v1s. This is team games I'm thinking of. This is free-for-alls. This maybe even treaties, which are, if you're going to revolt for a treaty, like, props to you. That is hilarious. I have done that. It's pretty fun. But yeah, I just want to put that out there before I get into the Peru revolt problems and such, because this revolt is good, just like all the others, at suddenly getting a giant mass of military. So, the reason I think this revolt is bad, though, through the eyes that I generally look at it, is just due to that, unlike the Argentina revolt, I keep saying I can't talk and type. Ways. And then old Nova. And Orion. So, unlike the Argentina revolt, this one, it's like the Argentina one is cav focused. It's very specific in that you're trying to build cav and you're gonna be mobile and all this stuff, and you're very food focused economy. But this revolt is just weird because it's infantry focused, sort of, but it's not. The infantry you get really aren't that great. Now, if I was going to do this in a late game, you know, like I said, this is more late game focused, I would probably have my deck about this, because you have to have cav if you're playing Spain. It doesn't matter what revolt you did or whatever, you really have to have cav, because I haven't seen a revolt yet where you cannot use your Spanish cav. So we have all my cav upgrades here, including the Caballeros. We have this because if you're going to do this in a free-for-all, whatever, you want to boom before you revolt. We have Spanish gold because with those infinite shipments, that's quite good. Royal decree to claim the new world. You obviously want, well, you don't have to have this actually on certain revolts, but if you want your revolutionaries to have that extra 50 HP, it's pretty nice there. I have added extensive fortifications because with infinite forts, I want that extra HP. Also have advanced arsenal, obviously a bunch of eco cards. You want peninsular guerrillas because you just want that damage on your infantry. Improved buildings just for like HP. Obviously your buildings, specifically your forts, so that's pretty nice. This one here, like I said, I'm not going to try to say it. I think I've said it before. I don't know how to say this. But the one that allows your explorer to rebuild forts is pretty nice. And obviously your 2 factories as well as the Liberation March. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. But we'll just go ahead and get a few of these in here. We'll actually just go ahead and ignore the hand cav stuff, because that's not what we're talking about here specifically. So we'll just go ahead and get all of those. We'll drop a church here, and then we'll revolt to Peru. Now this is my initial problem. This is the initial problem I have with this revolt, is that it gives you Simon Bolivar, which, like, okay, let's compare it to others. So this one gives you 8 Hussars of Death, epic. This one ships 2 Ironclads, and all your units become Independence Guards, which are absolute beasts. This one sends you 10 Gauchos and 10 Cows, and this one sends you a unit that provides 5% hit point boost. Now, that's not necessarily bad, but I can get him from here. Like, I'd rather have like a boost of units than this. And this one, I don't know, that the Karutas I've talked about, they're not my favorite. but that's whatever. So that's my initial problem, is just that you're getting a single unit, which, yes, like I said, he provides extra HP, but he's really not that great. Now this is maybe the smallest of all the decks we've seen so far. We got the cattle drivers, which many of these South American revolts have. Adds 8 to your cow build limit, so if you'll infinitely send this, you'll be able to up your eco a lot. That's something you really want to focus on. Sends 10 cows and 10 Morochucos. I'm not sure how you say that, but those are just anti-cav, ranged cav. These are pretty nice, definitely better than Karutos. But other than that, we have the, obviously, citizenship. Uniquely, we have the Andean Warriors, which ships 6 Harakas, and these are age 4 Harakas, but if you know anything about Harakas, you know they're not very good. So that is disappointing, although they have, in this last update, gotten more range. So 25 range is actually quite nice now. Could probably be upped more to the Arrow Knight range, but that's a topic for something else. And then the main focus of this revolt is the Peruvian legions. So it sends like 10 of them, I think. Yeah, 10 of them. And it equips them with a quote-unquote long-range grenade attack. As you can see, yeah, that have a powerful attack at long range. And it's garbage. So look here, 14, is that attack at long range? 14 is not long range. That's like the Cherokee Riflemen units, who it's like has a long range attack, and it's 16. It's like, skirmishers are 4 more. It's just, maybe that's just a description problem, but it's really not that great. And what's also uniquely bad about it is the only units this really counters, because it has a 50% negative multiplier against light infantry, is the only other units it will really help counter are going to be heavy infantry. And what do heavy infantry have? 12 range. And what happens when these guys get it within 12 range of a musketeer? They start shooting with their normal attack. So it's just very weird. I'm like, sure, you can, and you can't really hit and run because they take so long to wind up. So really, they're just not that great. They give you these and the elite Harakas to try to take care of skirmishers because they got that 1.25 versus all infantry and the cannons, but like these guys don't counter cannon enough to make up for these guys being like bad against cannons and like these guys aren't good enough at killing the counters to these to make these worth it overall. That's just my initial problem with it. Other than that, I don't have any problems with it, except just that it's not great, because there's not much deck here. There's nothing we're really looking at. So this is it. This is your roster you get from Revolting, and it's pretty pitiful, honestly. Definitely, while like I said, in 1v1, this will be good. You get a bunch of these guys. They do have good siege. That's the one thing they have. They have good siege, and obviously they can be boosted by this to make their area a little better and all that. And you can get them unction and stuff. You can get them as well as you can. This is a lot of stuff we already sent here, and as well as they can. This is pretty nice, but they just don't function well because they're only using that grenade in 2 range. They do have good siege, although it takes a while to wind up, and all this stuff. They just don't really work out. Now, if you had a massive Lancers, and then you go these guys and Lancers, maybe you could do fine. Except, again, I don't know what the grenade's gonna help with if we're just fighting off cav, which is what these are mainly for. And it just doesn't function well. I don't like what they tried to do here, really, because the good siege on this, that kind of conflicts with this, or kind of they do the same thing then if they're both good siege units. So, I don't know. I don't like this revolt. I think it's kind of pointless. Other than, like I said, the initial push. I'm going to stop saying that because y'all get the point. You can train these from here, but, like, I'd rather train Independence Guard. Like, with the Grand Columbia one, I can get Independence Guard. So why the heck do I want to train these silly guys from Bolivar? Like, it's just... I have a lot of problems with it, and I really hope... like, obviously, they haven't taken another look at it, I think. It's been quite a while since they messed with anything here. But I definitely hope they take a look at this and make some changes. I don't know really any Peru history. I'm more of a Middle Ages kind of guy, actually, which is funny. I don't play too much. But number 2. Age of Empires too much, even though I'm more of a Middle Ages guy. So I don't know Peru history. I don't know like what unique cards they could add to make it cool. I think there might be a modder who's on the Age of the World thing. He lives down in that area, I think. But I think he knows the history of it and has even suggested a Peru civilization. But maybe they could take some of those ideas and implement them in the Revolution deck. But overall, it's just kind of... I don't know what they should add, but I do know this is terrible. Usually I try to give ideas for fixing it, but I don't know how you could fix this. Except maybe just to remake it completely like they did the Finland Revolt or the USA Revolt. Although the USA Revolt does still have problems, but... let me know what y'all think about this. What y'all think, if y'all think I'm wrong, let me know. I'd love to know if there's like strategies, later game strategies that make this good or whatever, but in my experience and from what I'm just looking at here, it's not that great. So that's all I have to say about this, and I'll see y'all on the next one.